Good evening and welcome to the Grand and another episode of Ghost Light Gossip. I'm your host and chief gossiper, Joe Ferlo, the director of the Grand Oshkosh, and where it is very warm tonight as we continue to try to cut costs, obviously by keeping the air conditioning levels down or high so that the place stays warm. But we're saving the pennies. That's the important thing. Now, this is an interactive show. I do have some questions that were submitted in advance, and I'll do my best to answer those as we go. But if you have any other questions that you want to ask along the way, feel free to do that. Just type it into the comments section, and I will see it there and do my very best to answer it for you. So we're now closing in. We've just finished the 3-month mark since we closed the Grand at the start of the Safer at Home order here in Wisconsin. And we are still cautiously optimistic for a reopening on September the 12th with B-Twins. We're looking forward to a great show. If you've been following along, there are several venues in the area now who have announced some plans to reopen in the months ahead. To some extent, those of us with smaller venues are a little bit more fortunate. It's a little less complicated, perhaps, to get our buildings open. But that said, we have been in the midst at the staff level of all kinds of work. We're going to release next week, in advance of tickets going on sale, we're going to release to the public our policies and our procedures for how we're going to operate the Grand when we reopen in September, and how we will keep the place as safe as possible and keep our audiences as comfortable and distanced as possible, even as we start the fall. On the other side of news today, following along, there's some other major venues in big cities that have suspended their fall operations. It's still a very critical time for us. The arts and the venues are probably going to be the last of the things that will happen with the reopening of our communities. Which leads, of course, to the first question. This is a great question submitted earlier today. How are we doing this? How are we going to stay in business with this person has heard me say that we would have half or fewer of the seats available, which we have said on other episodes here. How are we going to make it? Well, I'll tell you. It's not easy. It won't be easy. I don't see that we have any choice but to make it. So with that said, our board has been very good and very supportive of making that happen. But socially distanced seating is going to reduce our income from shows considerably. Some of the other distancing things certainly are going to reduce, bar sales and beverage sales for shows. A lot of our income streams have changed, but will be changed in the short term. And certainly even the rentals, while we have some shows scheduled for the fall, I anticipate that, with us committing to the 200 seat capacity through November, at least, there are some renters who quite simply have either postponed or moved the events to the spring in hopes of having a larger crowd and making things more viable for them. So that income also goes by the wayside. We do have some other sources of income. Obviously, they are, being a nonprofit, the donations from folks, and corporate sponsors, and soon to be announced some naming licensing rights here at the Grand. There are opportunities out there for people to be involved, and that's going to be absolutely critical. We've now hit a milestone for survival in that we're at the end of the payroll protection support that we had received. So we're hitting a point now where we have to earn our way 100% to pay our people. And that's going to make things really critical. That said, we hit a new fiscal year, July 1st. Sponsorships, some sponsorships are in for shows for the year, which are great. More on the way, we hope. Donations continue to come in on the United We Grand and through the spring campaign, annual fund drive. And the more of that we can keep going, that will generate getting us to the summer months, and hopefully we hit next season as early as that September 12th date. How can I buy tickets for next season? Stay tuned. That's going to happen. That's going to come in the next couple of weeks. We've got a target of right around the 4th of July to get out there and make tickets available. I would encourage people to buy in advance. It's interesting. It's an interesting dilemma in that people don't want to necessarily commit in advance to anything right now. At the same time, with socially distanced seating and 200 seats in the Grand, those seats will go and they'll go quickly. So I would encourage people to do that. And if you want to do it just to support, but you're not quite sure, then I'd ask you to consider buying a gift certificate. Those are good for any show at the Grand at any time, and will still kick in some support for us at a time that we so very badly need it. This was a great submitted question. How does socially distanced seating work? And can I sit with my friends and my family? Well, I have a visual aid for you for this. I've been talking about it here on this show for a few weeks, but now I'll try to demonstrate. So here's a computer-generated model of the Grand as it is now, 558 seats. Downstairs, obviously upstairs at suite seats. With socially distanced seating, the available seats will look like this. They'll be in groups of 2s, 3s, 4s, some singles, spread out away from others. Now, the seats themselves aren't going to be removed. That would be, we don't want to do that because, frankly, we want to be able to add seats back as quickly as we can come late fall, winter. If possible. So the seats will still be there, but the seats that are not represented here will be strapped up and they will be unavailable. You will not be able to sit in them. So if you're in a family unit of 2 or 3 or 4, and these groups are available at the time you order your tickets, then you'll be able to sit together with the people you've been socializing with all along. But there is also a possibility that if you're a group of four and all that's are available are twos, that you will be sitting separate in the auditorium. And it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be frustrating at times. It's going to be frustrating for us as well as for the customers, but together we're going to find our way. The important thing is that we're going to have the distancing in our seating so that people can feel if they need to be safely 6 feet or more away from people in a show, that they can do that. There's a lot of hardships involved, obviously, the 200 seats for a show compared to 558, but we feel it's worth it. The safety of our patrons, of our staff, and of our volunteers and our artists is very important. So, in addition to the seating issues, we're going to be working on the policies as they apply to the lobby, as they apply to entry, as they apply to masks. Will they be, what's likely is that the staff and the volunteers will be wearing them, and we're going to recommend them strongly for audience members, but not require them. All of the traffic patterns have to be analyzed. We have to minimize the contact right to the point where instead of handing your ticket over and having it ripped and handed back to you, your ticket will be marked in your hand so that we know you're here, and it'll never have to leave your hand and go into another set of hands. There's all kinds of staff has been absolutely phenomenal in their creativity in finding ways to make the experience here at Grand absolutely as safe as we possibly can. So with all that in mind, we're looking forward to B-Twins, and I'll come back and answer some more of your questions. But first, I'll give you a little preview. Here is what's coming on September the 12th. That's going to be a great opening. The Twins are going to just light up this place. And after sitting dormant with just me and my stuffed animals audience watching along the way, it'll be a nice change of pace to hear some rowdiness in the audience and from the stage coming assuming we make it to 6, 7, 8, 9, we're about halfway through our closure right now. It'll be about 6 months when it's all said and done from closing to opening. And we've got some exciting announcements and some other things going on in between. We've been taking advantage of the time to do some repairs here in the building, to upgrade some of our theatrical equipment, to take some things that needed some tender loving care and look them over, to set up new procedures. The place has been cleaned and cleaned again right now, and now we're going to start to think about the disinfectant process. There are a lot of, obviously, there are techniques and equipment out there. We're going to be making the investment. Again, just what is normal will be a new normal. And boy, I know you must be tired of hearing that, and believe me, so am I. But the fact is that going to a show is going to be real different in the next 6 months to a year, maybe even a little longer. But whatever it is, you can be assured that we're going to do everything we can to roll with it and to be here for you. As we look at the fall schedule, and I mentioned earlier that some acts with the announcement of the lower capacities have moved to the spring, doesn't mean necessarily that I'm going to keep the fall completely blank. There are artists out there for whom a 200-seat venue can still work. And I've been on the lookout. If you've been watching our Saturday night concert series and our Friday night cocktail hour, you know that you've discovered with me some of these great artists that are out there. And I'm going to try once we get rolling, and once we know where things settle, and that we get a good feeling that the September 12th date is firm and will hold, then I'll start filling in dates in October and November as I can to try to keep something going on here at the Grand every week, as it always has been. We do have, we'll be looking forward to some announcements from some of those renters. The spring season will be announced. We have dates that I think our arts partners, the Oshkosh Community Players and the Oshkosh Symphony Orchestra, will be ready to work on with us. And the other great unknown in a sea of great unknowns for us is the idea of streaming certain performances, making them available at home on the nights of a show for audiences who are just not comfortable or got shut out of being here live with us that night. I am more certain than I am uncertain, but I am somewhat less than certain, if that makes sense. We're getting all the things done. We're learning everything we possibly can. And I'm pretty optimistic that when we reopen, we'll also have the opportunity to create for many, not for all, but for many shows, an opportunity for people who just can't get out or aren't comfortable getting out, an opportunity for them to support the Grand, see the shows at home via pay-per-view streaming kind of service. So again, there are things, these are sentences that a year ago I would never have said. And it just, again, I can't tell you enough how much I am grateful for the core staff we have and the work that they've done to help us prep to make this thing happen. So in the meantime, there is the Grand at home, and you'll have these little Thursday night half hours with me to answer your questions and tell you what's new, what's around the corner for us announcement wise. Tomorrow night is cocktail hour night. So at 7:30 tomorrow night, I'll be having cocktails with one of our artists, and this is going to be a fun one. I think you want to tune in. James Garner is going to join us. James is the artist who is coming next March. Now, a year after his original scheduled thing, he has an absolutely incredible tribute to Johnny Cash. We worked with the Cash family, and his voice and his demeanor and his attitude just scream Johnny Cash, and at the same time he reminds you that he's there paying tribute to the music. And man, James is a great guy. I met him today as we did a little work through of the technology, and I'm looking forward to you meeting him. That's tomorrow. 7:30 at the YouTube channel. Look on the Facebook page as well for links. And then on Saturday we have another artist, a new artist to me, and she will be wonderful. She's a wonderful vocalist by the name of Amelia Ford, and Amelia will be joining us via a recorded show on Saturday night. Saturday at 7:30 again. We'll look forward to an hour or so with Amelia. And that is, of course, the Grand at Home. That is our series. It has been going on now for 3 months, and it continues to go strong. We have the weeks and weekends booked for the weeks to come. As long as we're stuck at home and you're stuck at home, we're going to try to bring the Grand at home to you. So this is where you subscribe. Of course, you can also find any information you need on the website, and that will link you to where you can connect with all of this along the way. So speaking of the website, if all of this kind of runs together for you, and you wonder, where can I get information on XYZ? Of course, the website is thegrandoshkosh.com. it's pretty all purpose. When you click on the website, it's going to look something like this, and basically you have all the information you need there. You've got all of our updates, our COVID related updates and schedules. You've got the link to subscribe to the Grand at Home. You've got a link to support us, thank goodness, and there's all, and it's the place to go. It's a one-stop shop for finding your way to all of the other things that we're doing right now to keep the Grand alive and in front of you and ready to roll when you're ready to roll again. So we're looking forward, obviously, to a very it's hard to say when, things are going to get busy. We're looking forward to September and where things go. As I said, we're committed to the 200 seat capacity, and although we will increase capacity when it's safe to do so, the responsible thing for us to do as we announce the shows that we control going forward is to only sell those 200 seats first, just in case, because it's easier to add seats than it is to take away full seats. So when we go on sale, even for some of our big shows like the Four Phantoms Christmas show in December, those performances will only have 200 and so some seats available at first, regardless, because we're going to want to make sure that if that's the way we have to do things, that we're prepared to do that. So that is, that is obviously a giant show. We're going to want to get as many of you in as we possibly can. The Four Phantoms have a tremendous show that's played here twice, but this year they've put a spin on it just for Oshkosh. There'll be a holiday flair to it. Of course, you'll get your Phantoms fix out of these four wonderful artists, but we're also going to put some holiday spirit, inject that in a little bit. Let's take a quick look, and then we'll come back, and I'll take you to the bottom of the hour.
The Phantom of the Opera is here, inside your mind.
Hi, we're the Four Phantoms.
I'm Brent Barrett.
I'm John Cudia.
I'm Frank D'Ambrosio.
I'm Kieran Sheehan.
And I'm Kaylee Voorhees.
This December, we're returning to the Grand Oshkosh with a very special holiday show.
The show is sure to get you in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, but don't worry, you're also going to be hearing all of your Phantom favorites too.
Speak softly, love, and hold me warm against your heart. I feel your words, the tender trembling moments start. Near and word, our very own, sharing a love that only few have ever known. My broken soul won't be alive or whole till I hear you sing once more. No, not me. All I care about is doing the guide who's picking on you, twisting the wrist that's turning the screw. Is I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. Sing, my angel of music.
He's there, the Phantom of the Opera.
Sing! Help me make the music
Christmas with the Four Phantoms. That's going to be a great show. in the weeks to come, I'll put some other teasers of some upcoming shows you can find at the Grand at Home YouTube channel and linked from the website. The announcement of the entire season, which is out there, but there are highlights, including Abamania in January, Mallory Lewis with Lamb Chop, doing the Sherry Lewis tribute in March. James Garner, of course, turning in the first place with us with his tribute to Johnny Cash. Farewell Angelina, the great country quartet, will be here. I'm leaving things out, I know, along the way, but it's going to be a great season, and we'll keep adding as we go. And there's a lot of other things landing in those months after the turn of the year as well. And so my hope is that we have a fun-filled holiday season going into 2021. The Grand will have its fundraisers. Oshkosh on Broadway will happen. Don't know what it'll look like yet. We may all be in our living rooms, but by gosh, Oshkosh on Broadway will happen in January. And we aren't going to stop just because the world has slowed down. We'll find the right way to do it. We'll find the safe way to do it, and we will sully forth and make sure that we've got our role in entertainment ready for you just as soon as we can. The other arm, of course, is our role in education, and that's going to be also a little complex and a little different going into the fall. Normally, we have the AmCore Discovery Series with shows, touring children's shows, and students get bussed in from 18 counties, I believe it is. I'll get that wrong. But it's got a great outreach, and it's one of our most important things we do, 10,000 kids. And those tours are all off the road this fall. So what we're doing is we're working with the artists, the agencies that send the tours, and many of them are preparing online versions of their shows to make them available, and we will work with them to get content into the teachers' hands in their classrooms and homeschoolers in their homes. And we'll find a way to keep our commitment to our students and to our kids at the same time. We're taking that commitment very seriously, and thankfully, so are the artists. One of the questions that got asked to me is, that I left out, I can't find it to click it here. Here it is. How are the artists making it through this time? And the hurt is not limited to the venues. Although we are constantly challenged right now, at least when I sit in front of you right now, I can say, we are looking for donations. We're looking for sponsorships. We're looking for, there are ways to support us right now if you're able to. Artists, their principal support comes from me writing them a check, and I'm not writing any checks right now. So the many of them are struggling, finding their way to the time when they can be out on the road again. And at the same time, most of the artists with whom I'm friends are acknowledging that there's a way to do it, and there's a way to do it safely, and we have to find the way to do that as we go forward. There are a lot of precautions to take backstage as well as on stage when we talk about bringing artists in from who are touring the country and bringing them in for a night to work in front of and with our stage crew or in front of our audience. So all of it I wrote in a note to some of our donors yesterday that it was a little like riding a roller coaster without a seatbelt. And it is a bit of a thrill ride, but I'm here to tell you it's another week, and we're here, and we have a plan, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that when the fall hits, that we are in front of you with as a leader in creating an entertainment opportunity for the Fox Valley and Oshkosh and downtown Oshkosh. So in the meantime, the Grand at Home continues. You can find us on Thursday nights right here with me for Ghost Light Gossip. On Friday nights, it's cocktail hour with artists. Again, we are pleased tomorrow to welcome James Garner, he of the Johnny Cash tribute. And on Saturday, we have an hour mini concerts. We feature Amelia Ford this Saturday, and we're going to stay right there in front of you. We got a very busy summer, even as we sit and try to take care of it from home. In the meantime, I hope you'll be able to help us, and I hope that you'll be able to keep tuning in. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask. And you can tune in once a week here, and I'll try to do it live for you as best I can. So in the meantime, I do hope you all continue to be safe, find your way around what's happening in the world around us, and be back to join us here until you can join us here. I'm Joe Ferlo. This has been The Grand at Home and Ghostlight Gossip, and I will see you again very soon.